Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast, Raw Rundown, fresh from the Hollywood Rawies. What was our award show called?
The Hollywood Rawies.
The Hollywood Rawies. We had our own award show this past week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today is our Raw Rundown. We give you the top 10 stories of the week in the world of entertainment news. How do we pick the top 10 stories? It goes by Google search. It goes by data. And lastly, it goes by our personal opinion. But ultimately, like I always say, and Dax always says, it comes down to the data, what every people are clicking on. And that's what, Dax and I are two entertainment journalists who've been in this for 2 decades now. That's what these sites do. That's what these outlets do. They see what people are clicking on and they keep going after those stories. And these are what you guys are clicking on. These are what you guys have interest in. It's not, I don't judge, but you guys care a lot about, well, we'll get into that. We had the Hollywood Rawies this past week. Funny thing happened, though, this past week, Dax. I don't know how to approach this. And one of our winners reached out via TikTok. We had the Hollywood Roy for Thirstiest Celebrity of the Year. Brooks Nader reached out, responded on our TikTok because she saw it. And what'd she say, Dex?
She said, but do I get to keep the award?
I mean, yeah.
And I was like, absolutely. I said, we will send it to you if you display it on your mantle. That is the only way. Move over any other awards you may have, a picture of you on SI, but put the Arai on your mantle and we will send it over your way 100%.
Or we could do it quicker. She could just come on the podcast because I have reached out.
That works too.
I did reach out to her, by the way, and this is a while back for her to come on the podcast to no avail. But if I maybe said, hey, we'll do a set of paparazzi shot, then I maybe could have got an answer. So I wonder if she's getting a cut of those shots that run, or if she just wants the publicity. Does she want hey, code me in, give me 20%, or is she saying just, I need the publicity?
I'm assuming it's a publicity play. You know what I'm saying? Just take my photo.
Well, it's funny because
and see what happens with it.
Right after we recorded the Hollywood Royals, I don't know if you saw this, but she was photographed at a sex shop in New York City.
Oh, I saw that. What was that about?
Yeah, I mean, what is that about? That's her trying to make news. She was with her partner.
But they would have had to have told someone because it's not like you get a lot of photos at sex shops, right? So
100%.
They would have told them.
I know the photographers in New York. No one's like, oh my God, it just doesn't happen like that.
Is it a popular sex shop that a lot of people go to? So the Paps would have potentially had some heads up or anything?
Any photographers hanging outside a sex shop are not paparazzi. All right. They're they're doing photos of something else. There's some kinky stuff. So she had to have called them. Do I know for sure? No, but I would assume she called them. But hey, listen, that's why she is the winner of this year's Thirstiest Celebrity Award. So, but I thank you guys for watching. If you want to watch, it's on our YouTube, Hollywood Raw. Me and Dax dressed up for the occasion and met with our stylist and put a little gown together. So it was good. All right. So before we get to the Raw Rundown, the top 10 stories of the week, Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
Oh, I got one. All right. This one comes from Essence by Elizabeth. It says, Scandal Broth is the headline, 5 stars. Recently learned that in Victorian times, tea was referred to as scandal broth. You guys brew your own blend of this premium stuff to perfection. It doesn't require sugar or honey. You two just pour it out piping hot. I love it.
It's funny. That's actually a great review. That's awesome. Yeah, Thank you for that review. And if you guys want to
scandal broth
help us out, please give us a review. If you've already done it, take your partner, take a friend, say a few kind words, 5 stars, and we'll read your review live on air. All right. Let's get to the Raw Rundown, starting with number 10, Dex.
All right, number 10 in our Scandal Broth Rundown, we've got the Oscar bosses. They are refusing to change the date of the Oscars. Obviously, a lot of people know that there's these fires going on out here in California. They are not out. They are still working on containing them. And a lot of people in Hollywood lost their homes. So a lot of people in the Oscar world are saying, do we still have this award show, considering does it seem like we are tone deaf, that we should be focusing on all these people that have lost their homes, either here in LA and North Carolina, all these places that there's just a lot of destruction going on. And they're saying, look, these Oscar awards, they're not moving. The date we're keeping as is. They're moving around the release of the nominations on some of the stuff. They're changing the date of the like Oscar luncheon, the technical awards, but the actual date of the awards ceremony, they are not. They're saying, there's a lot of people that really wait for this day, and a lot of people have actually lost their homes that were on the Academy board. So they're saying, you know what? We're keeping it as is. There was a story that had come out saying that there's like this official Academy Awards committee led by Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, Steven Spielberg, Emma Stone, and that they were monitoring the wildfires daily. The Academy's like, yeah, no, that's fake. That doesn't exist. That's not true. We are moving forward with the Oscars, and we think it'd be a nice little reprieve for some of these people to get their minds off the fires and death and destruction going on. Because let's be honest, at any moment, there's death and destruction going on around the world. Right, Adam? I mean,
Sure.
If you had to stop doing life, no one would be able to do anything. There's constant destruction.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that we're still distance. We still have some time until the Oscars. So I think people sort of it takes a lot of work to kind of get everything put together for the Oscars. So the work, I'm sure, is already there. If they were to back it up, it's going to give them a lot of more extra work. And I think the Oscar night, it's just one night. And I think a lot of people look forward to it. And I think it's a way for people to get out of their own heads and get in a good place and come together and have fun and enjoy film. So I think it's, so far, I think it's like, you know what? Yeah, do that. I think maybe it's a good thing for Hollywood to say, hey, we're going to get back to work and get back to what we like. And I'm all for
bring
it.
Spencer Pratt out.
Yeah.
Bring Spencer out. Have him do a nomination or something. That would be amazing. And then it's like, now you're giving back. You're giving back to Spencer. I know that they were saying that they're going to try to raise money, obviously, for fire victims, that kind of stuff. And like I said, there was 4 board members who lost their homes in the fire. So if they had any objection, I'm sure they would speak up.
You have to have Spencer on the red carpet. Spencer and Heidi on the red carpet.
So
I almost would be like, people, no, they can't. I would love for it to happen, but I think the other actors would be offended by it. But I'm curious if this year's Oscars will have reality and more influencers on the red carpet, because we saw that for the Golden Globes. They had so many influencers on the red carpet. Will they have it for the Oscars? I kind of hope they don't, because I think it just ruins the allure of it. I mean, it's a whole different class of Hollywood, and I understand they're trying to fight for ratings. They want to get views, and how do you do that? You put influencers on, but make it historic, make it grand, keep it real. All right, Dex, number 9.
Drake is actually going after Universal Music Group, suing them, claiming that they used Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar's big hit, to tear down his career. And so he is suing the label for defamation. This is a really, really big deal. He has been at war with Kendrick Lamar for quite some time. He did not like Not Like Us because it painted him as a pedophile. And he is now saying that he is, in fact, upping the ante by suing Universal Music Group for spreading, quote unquote, false and malicious narrative that he is a pedophile. And so he filed this defamation case on a Wednesday morning in federal court in New York, ripping UMG for releasing and promoting the diss track. And in the documents, he claims that UMG knew fully well that Kendrick's lyrics and image in the music video referring to Drake as a pedophile were false and dangerous. He is basically saying that they were trying to make him less valuable out there, because all of this would hurt his reputation. It would hurt sales. And you remember they paid like $400 million last time to sign him. And so if they were going to re-sign him, it would hurt his career, but then enhance the ability for them to re-sign him at a lower price. So that is what he is claiming. UMG
so far, I'm going to cut you down right there. So far from what you read to me, I think there's a case. Do you think there's a case here?
Well, I can tell you that Universal Music Group has come back and they're saying not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. We have invested massively into his music. Our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him to achieve historic commercial and personal financial success. And then they said a bunch of other things. I do remember there was one quote in here. Oh, here we go. We do not do not engage in defamation against any individual. At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artists who are directly in. Oh, wait, no, that was not the part. Hold on. Here we go. Throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG to distribute his music and poetry to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles to express his feelings about other artists. Now he seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence any artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG. That's what I thought was interesting, that they're basically saying, you've had rap battles for years, and every time we sit there, we back you up because that is your creative expression. Now you're saying that someone else's creative expression should be dampened and that we are not supposed to help that person out because they're on the same label. Like, that actually is a very interesting
point. Okay.
Interesting point. And
touche.
Listen, I know Drake is salty because he got, posted as a pedophile. But what I don't understand is, why aren't you just going out and defending yourself? Like, what do you normally do? You make another diss track. He didn't respond because he clearly had lost his rap battle. But I feel like it makes you look even worse when you're now filing lawsuits. And he did not file a lawsuit against Kendrick Lamar. It is only against Universal.
It's an interesting lawsuit. I'm surprised in the hip hop demographic in that genre, they're not making this a bigger deal. Because
well, they already had said, like, Drake lost, he's done. Like, they've pushed him to the side now.
Yeah, but it's like, how does this play out? Like, how does this end? And when it goes to court, if it does go to court, does this just end in a settlement? Do they just say, you know what, let's just pay Drake? I don't know what would make both sides happy. Or
I think
both
maybe
sides
it's
aren't
to
going to be
get
happy.
him to release him out of the contract, maybe. Or they can't own his music right. Like, maybe there's a bigger play here where it's about, fine, you don't have to, pay me a settlement, but let me out of my contract so that I could go join Sony or whatever the situation is, Maybe that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely did hurt his, I wouldn't say his career, because like, how are you going to say it hurt his career when the guy's still worth so much money? But he's been very quiet the last couple of months ever since. And I think the general public kind of came to
I think a lot of people back Kendrick. Like,
Kendrick all of a sudden, he's performing at the Super Bowl from that. I mean,
so that's the question. Is he going to be allowed to perform Not Like Us? He has to. Does he reference Drake as a pedophile on one of the biggest stages on the planet, and that is the Super Bowl halftime show?
Great, man. That's going to be, I'm not excited because that's a wild thing to do, but if that happens, wow. How does Drake respond to that? That he was just called a pedophile at the halftime Super Bowl. I don't know if they could use that lyric during the.
Well, there's a couple of them, like, saying that he goes for young people. Like, it's not the song is not good for Drake if they let him perform it. But then at the same time, that is one of Kendrick's biggest hits. Even my son sings that song because he loves it so much. He gets the clean version and doesn't understand any of the euphemisms, but but he loves the song just because it's so catchy.
Yeah. All right, Dex. Let's move along to number 8.
Oh, this is a sad story. Wendy Williams talking about how she feels like she is in prison. She broke down in an emotional interview. She called into the Breakfast Club, and she said that she is basically trapped in prison, that this is all due to that conservatorship. And she says that she is, quote unquote, not cognitively impaired. So this is a pretty rare interview, but she opened up. I guess her niece was there, and so the niece was the one that called into the radio show on her behalf, and then kind of like went back and forth between her niece and Wendy talking about this, saying that people can't call in, she can only call out, that she is basically living in a luxury prison in New York. And her niece Alex actually kind of expanded on it a little bit, saying that she's stuck in this small room in New York with basic necessities, including only one window, which does not provide Wendy enough sunlight. and that she's isolated from people at the facility, and it's just really not her cup of tea. And then she goes on to say that one of her few interactions she's had with other people on a daily basis is when the quote unquote nursemaids come into a room and deliver unknown pills. And that, Charlemagne the God is like, no, don't take those pills. And she's like, look, I can only do so much in here. And then one of the most crazy things is they say that number one, like I said, she can't make phone calls, or people can't phone her, and she does not have a laptop or an iPad, so she can only kind of scroll on her phone. And then she starts crying, saying that she may not be able to go see her dad on his 94th birthday because it is all up to the conservator to bless the travel or not. And she's like, I want to go to Miami. I want to see my dad. It's his 94th, and I can't go unless it's approved. So she just kind of feels like she's in prison. I will say she did sound like she's there. She repeated herself a lot, but she didn't sound like totally wackadoodle.
So is she putting an act on, or is that the real her? I think that's the part.
If you
I have
are
the inner struggle of how to
if you're
handle
mentally out of it, how are you supposed to put it on as a charade?
But we saw the video of her getting into the fight with a person who worked with her, an assistant, some sort of recently,
the chair,
or the chair, which that was a sort of gnarly video. So or she just like, listen, I'm mentally okay. Am I sort of a little bit crazy just from day to day? I guess like everyone else, yeah. But when it comes to taking care of myself, I'm very able and capable of taking care of myself. I think that's the part I struggle with. Because I don't know. It's like the same thing. Here's the thing. When it comes to conservatorship, are we nervous about her hurting herself? Because with someone like Britney, when she was under conservatorship, I think that was the question. Like, if she didn't have a conservatorship, she could hurt herself. Mm-hmm. Now, with Wendy, it's like, yeah, she might be a little unique. However, she can fully be functional. So I don't know. It's
maybe we get Jess back on here. She's the Wendy Williams professional.
I know.
Maybe we'll get her on next week and talk about Wendy Williams. I was going to call her this morning and see what she has to say about this whole situation. She knows it so much better than we do, the ins and outs, all the details of it. So
what are your thoughts on, though, right before we move on, what are your thoughts on the Wendy situation?
I think she needs someone to watch over her. But I struggle with locking someone up against their will. You know what I'm saying?
Tough. I don't know.
That is the part that I find hard. Yes, she needs supervision, but does she need to be locked inside of a little room with one window? That's tough. And spending all the money that she's made all her whole life, and now she can't even go see her dad, who's 94, who, I mean, let's be honest, 94 could this be his last birthday and she can't even go see him? That would be pretty messed up.
Yeah. All right. Number 7.
Liam Payne's friend, this guy, Roger Nors, is now suing Liam's dad for destroying his reputation. This took a wild turn. Roger Nors has been accused of basically abandoning Liam Payne in the last hours of his life. Argentinian authorities have blamed Roger Nors, charged him with Liam's death. Liam's dad has come out saying, why did this guy leave my son in his last moments? He's the reason that he's dead. Well, Roger filed a defamation lawsuit Thursday against Jeff Payne for saying that Jeff was supposed to take care of Liam at the time of his death. According to the docs, Roger says Jeff submitted a sworn declaration to Buenos Aires police stating that Roger had, quote unquote, full responsibility for Liam's care during the last period and when I was not there. Roger is going, whoa. I was his dear friend. We spent a lot of time together. I was not getting paid to watch over him. I had no responsibility to be his caretaker. That would have been his father's job, because there were bodyguards that were watching over him, that one quit. The father was supposed to get a new one. He said everyone knew of this guy's dire situation and his, being so into drugs and having a rough time. He goes, but pointing the finger at me is not where you should be pointing the finger. So he feels like he is just getting the bum rap for this whole situation.
Yeah. The guy's been doing sort of interviews, which I was surprised because he was, I guess now that there's been more truth to the story of what happened during that time, that this guy is like, see, I had no involvement. And you're right. His name has been sort of thrown through the mud. And now we're hearing kind of really what happened that day.
To me, this feels like everyone's just pointing fingers at each other. That, the hotel is pointing fingers at the friends are pointing fingers at the hotel. They're pointing fingers at the people that are supplying drugs. I mean, what it seems like is this is a very, very sad situation with a drug addict who has spun out of control. And unfortunately, shit happens when you are on drugs. And that's what I think it comes down to, is everyone's blaming each other. Who's blaming Liam? You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy was not in the right mindset. And unfortunately, it seems like this was a long time struggle that he was going through. And it's a really sad situation. But where's the people that go, where's Liam's culpability in this whole thing for taking drugs and not taking care of himself? I don't know.
Dax, I couldn't have said any better. I think you nailed it on the head right there. I don't have another comment to say. I think you just said everything that needed to be said. You said it right.
All right.
No, I thought you said it very well. It's a great point, and you're right. At the end of the day, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of fingers being pointed, but at the end of the day, like, it came down to Liam, who was on, abusing drugs, so that's what it is. All right. Number 6,
if you are not in our private Facebook group, you need to go join. Go to HollywoodRaw.com, find the link to our private Facebook group, because we had already talked about this story before it even broke. We put a comment in there, and now it is our number 6 story of the day. But Sofía Vergara went on a flirty date with Lewis Hamilton. The two of them were seen out. They were photographed. And listen, their people are saying that they're not dating. It was just friend time with a group. But if you watch their body language, it is kind of interesting. So the Formula One driver was spotted out with the actress in New York City. They were all kind of smiley. They were there, yes, with other friends, but it looks like some playful gestures and flirty glances between the two of them. They sat next to each other at a table by the window. Do you know what restaurant they were at? I don't even think I know.
No,
what restaurant
it was a cafe. I know the place. It was on I got it on my phone. We broke the story on our website, on our private Facebook called Off the Record. They were at this little cafe. So it's funny. The story comes out that they're on a date, and it's hard to say. It's like, was it a romantic date? It was like, let's feel each other out situation. Like, it was, we're not saying it's a date, but we're open to seeing if there's something there. Mm-hmm. And from their people made a statement right away and said, this was not a date. This was just a friendly, casual thing, but it wasn't. They could say, and they basically reached out to every single outlet. If you go report this, you report that, to trying to change it because it wasn't date. And it's hard to say, was it like a romantic date? No, because it was during the middle of the day, but it was a gathering of them to see like if there's something there. Now, I do know that Lewis is sort of very interested in this and would entertain it. However, Sofia says, I'm just too old for you. You're a cute, nice boy, but I'm just too old for you. So I think it would be an awesome crew to see together. I mean, I could see them going to the F1 races and walking around like, man, that's a cool couple. However, I think at the end of the day, Sofia wants to be someone a little bit older, and but she does find them cute and charming, but a little too young.
Yeah.
But we broke that on our private Facebook group called Off the Record. You guys should be in it. Dax, number 5.
Sean Diddy Combs is alleging that some of the victims, or at least one victim, quote unquote, enjoyed herself in consensual videos of freak-offs. And this is according to his lawyers. So footage of Sean Diddy Combs' drug-fueled sex marathons, which were obviously dubbed as freak-offs, show that one of his alleged victims, quote unquote, enjoyed herself and was completely in control. And this comes from his lawyers. on Thursday. The feds had evidence of 9 videos depicting 6 sexual encounters showing adults having consensual sex, plain and simple. And his lawyers have basically argued in a court filing that this is very important when it comes to his upcoming trial in May. So his attorneys did not explain how they concluded that the women's allegedly had pleasure in the videos, which they viewed in November and December while being supervised by government agents. But this then goes against the narrative that she was forced to do it. So I guess there's just hours and hours and hours of footage that they are combing through. Imagine that. Imagine you're his lawyers and you're just watching like sex videos with federal agents. It's got to be so weird.
Those videos? I mean, we're getting a little more peek of what happened on those videos, but it's tough. I mean, part of me is like, yeah, I want to see those videos. But part of me is just like, yeah, those people could have seemed happy, but they're also drugged, so they don't really know what's going on. Like you're sort of not in the right state and sort of dozing off. So how are you able to determine that those people are?
Well, not only that, so let's say this goes to trial, which it will, but you've got a jury there and you're like, these women were having a great time. What are you talking about? No one was forced against their will. Are you then showing these videos in court to prove your point? Because how else are you supposed to prove that these women weren't out of their minds?
Look at this girl. Look at this girl. She climaxed right there. How are you going to tell me that?
Like, how do you do this? This seems like, yes, you're going to go through the videos. You're going to see evidence. But then what do you do with that evidence once you see it? Are you going to take the jurors back in a back room and have them watch the video and have them come to the conclusion whether or not? Because it really does kind of ride on that.
Yeah.
This is going to get weird.
It's going to get weird.
Real weird.
I wonder how long this case is eventually going to go for. And I think we find that on like the first day, like they kind of give like, I guess, a deadline for each sort of team. But like, how long can this case sort of run? And this case won't be televised. But I'm sure
it's New York. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, is there be a line outside for people who?
There's going to be. We will know every detail that happens inside this court case. Have no fear. There's going to be court reporters up the wazoo. We're going to see all those creepy courtroom sketches.
Let me ask you, Dax. So a courtroom is anybody could go to that courtroom, correct?
I think that you can go, but doesn't mean you're going to get in.
Yes. So do court reporters, do they have like a special line that they could get in quicker than a regular?
I think they just know. Yeah, I remember because I covered the court case, like when TMZ was brand new. I remember covering some court cases like a Michelle Rodriguez DUI case I had covered. And I remember I like just needed to show up to the right courtroom. And let's say she was called number 7 out of, 40 people. I just had to be in there. It was a lot of waiting around, and they would change the courtroom at the last second to make you run around. So they didn't make it easy to know where to go, but I was able to figure it out. And so I think that's the thing. If you know how to navigate through there and you know the right people, you can put yourself in the right courtroom.
It's a weird vibe being in like a courthouse, especially when there's like a celebrity or big news story going on, right? Because part of you is like, oh my God, this is crazy. Then it's like, no, but this is real life. Like this is real stuff about to happen. And see someone possibly at their lowest low. It's there's like a unique energy there. I've been around some of that stuff, and it's very tough. I don't know, like even for like someone who's reporting it, it's like these are lives at hand. I don't know. It's very weird. But yeah, interesting. Dax, number 4.
Number 4, The Bachelor, Matt James and Rachael Kirkconnell have split. They are no longer in what a up and down relationship they had. If you remember, they were on the season when he was the Bachelor. She won. But they actually did not get engaged at that time because all of those, her past, that racist past kind of surfaced when the photos of her at that like college antebellum party celebrating the South's like racist past, and she was smiling. So like that came out right before the end. So they ended up splitting up, and then they ended up getting back together before I want to say like the final Rose episode aired. They've gone for 4 years together, and now they're no longer. He posted the news on IG Thursday morning, basically saying, look, pray for us, give us peace about our decision to end our relationship that transcends worldly understanding, that sounds lame. Shower our friends and family with kindness and love to comfort us and remind us that our joy comes from you. And I'm just like, gross. Sounds
weird.
so lame.
Anyway,
they did turn off the comments, but the post right before it was like them hanging out together. So what the hell happened in those 12 hours that they decided to split? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because he didn't tag her in the post. It wasn't like a collab post. So I wonder if he had her approval to sort of put that announcement out there. Mm-hmm. So why did he get to put on his Instagram, but she could put it on her Instagram? Like, why wasn't it a dual post?
I don't know. Maybe it was a one-sided. And remember, she was the whole reason that Chris Harrison lost his gig at The Bachelor. Remember, he went on
really Rachel Lindsay.
Dumbly,
he kind of defended her a little bit with Rachel Lindsay, was it?
Yeah, with Rachel Lindsay, and then that
went on the campaign to get him gone, and that's what happened to Chris Harrison. And Chris Harrison, by the way, very nice guy. I like Chris Harrison a lot. Cool guy.
But it was all for nothing. They didn't even end up together.
Nope. I will say this. I've met a lot of the bachelors. I've met a lot of the bachelorettes. And I would say, I said in the past, one of them, who was the girl that, I want you to look this up, Dax, when I remember I said her name on the podcast. Was it Rachel Lindsay or not Rachel Lindsay? I think it was the other one. Tasha Adams. I said a while back
that you didn't like.
Yeah, she was like one of the worst experiences I had with a celebrity of that year. It was like 2 years ago or something like that. But my experiences with Matt James have not been good. I think he's fucking douche. He just was never cool to me. I've met him a handful of times, and I found him to be kind of like not cool, like just a dick. Maybe he was just a dick to me. Maybe I found him the wrong day. Maybe I just had a bad experience. And other people say, no, he's actually a nice guy. But from my experiences with him, he has not been cool. Rachel, on the other hand, I will say this. I think is one of the prettiest bachelorettes I've seen in person. And I'm not trying to judge on looks because, like I said, I am a 7 when I get dressed up. But she like when I saw her, I was like, man, this girl's really pretty. Crazy story about Rachel. I remember when she first started dating Matt James and they got back together, where there's like sort of the rumors, like, I think they're back together. And all of a sudden we saw on her social media that she was in New York. So me and the paparazzi went to a place in like the Lower East Side, almost like near Chinatown, where Matt James had an apartment. And I think he had an apartment because they gave him a free nice apartment, and all he had to do was like post about this building. But it was a nice building right on the water, but like in the middle of like Chinatown, East Village type thing. And I meet the paparazzi down there, and I see them. There's like 3 paparazzi waiting. They're like, yeah, we're waiting to see if this girl Rachel's here. And they're like, yeah, we waited for like 4 hours now, but we haven't seen anything. We think we're going to bounce. All right. So they all bounce, and I'm standing there by myself, just trying to figure out where we're going to go next. And all of a sudden, this pretty girl walks out. I'm like, I think that's Rachel. And I call a photographer. I'm like, dude, come back. I think this is the girl. And she starts walking around the area, and I follow her. And I'm like, dude, I swear this is her. And I take some shots of her. I'm like, yeah, she's leaving this building. I think that's her. And finally, the photographer got there in the nick of time. She went and got some coffee, and she walked around for like 15 minutes. And then last second, before she walked back into the apartment, I put my camera. I'm like, hey, Rachel, how you doing? She like gave me a smile. She's like surprised by me. The photographer got some shots. We were able to prove that was her, and we made a lot of money off those shots. So that was a good day. Nice. But again, Matt was never a good guy, to me at least. But I'm not saying that all the Bachelor people are dicks. I mean, Pilot Pete's actually a very nice guy. I think that's about it. I can't really say much about the other guys yet. I'm still trying to determine if they're good people yet. All right. Stupid story by me. Number 3.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively getting sued for $400 million by Justin Baldoni. This is the new twist in this case. If you remember, Justin Baldoni had sued the New York Times for the article that they had put out for $250 million. Now he is going directly after Ryan, Blake, and her publicist, Leslie Stone, saying that they were on a crusade against him to basically ruin his career. This is it seems like the never-ending story. But Justin Baldoni and his company, Wayfarer Studios, which is the company that produced It Ends With Us, filed the federal lawsuit ripping Blake and Leslie Sloan for their alleged campaign to smear Baldoni and snatch away control of the movie, which he directed and co-starred in with Blake. And so according to the docs, Blake was determined to make Baldoni the real-life villain in her story to deflect from her getting publicity and bad publicity and getting trashed as tone deaf during the film's media tour. Justin said that he was promoting that she was promoting her hair care and alcohol line while promoting a film about domestic violence. So in the suit, Justin says the war between himself and Blake really started back in May 2023 when they started shooting the movie. He claims that she was organized and that she organized a takeover strategy as they battled for creative control of the movie. Justin also called out Taylor Swift and Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, for getting involved in the writing of the script. He says Blake had done a rewrite on the film's critical rooftop scene where the main characters meet. He says that he had a meeting with Blake and Ryan in the penthouse of their New York penthouse about the rewrite, but now feels like it was more of an ambush. And that Taylor popped in for her 2 cents, also applauding Blake's version of the scene. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, when you get Taylor Swift in there and she starts going, I like this, who's going to say no to it, right? Like, the woman is one of the most creative people on the planet and has blessed everything that she's touched. So of course they're going to go along with whatever she says. Anyway, it has now gone back and forth. He is saying that he needs some financial settlement out of this, but seeking no less than $400 million in damages from them. And then again, we've also talked about the $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times. So if he was actually able to get paid out, the guy would be a very rich man at the end of all of this.
The suit includes a ton of texts Sloan sent to various media outlets, including TMZ, in which she allegedly tried to divert attention from Lively's tyrannical behavior on set. Leslie Sloan, by the way, is a huge publicist. I mean, she represents Katie Holmes. She represents Jamie Foxx. She's probably one of the biggest publicists out there.
You know what's weird, though, is if I remember correctly, when I worked at TMZ, we did not have a great relationship with Leslie Sloan. Like, I think she was always really hard to work with, never wanted to like give up any information. So that would be surprising that she's handing over a lot of information to TMZ personally.
I think it's a working relationship. It's a love-hate thing, because I actually have a good relationship with Leslie, and I think she's very good at what she does. I think she's actually very nice and very fair. So I think it's sometimes she has to play good cop and sometimes she has to play bad cop. And I mean, I don't know. I didn't see the text messages she sent, but like in any PR job, it's like you got to take and you got to give. And sometimes you have to pick up the phone and sometimes you have to ignore. So it's like there's like a certain balance in line. And I think ultimately what it comes to is like working with the outlet in some way. And that's what any publicist would do. So it comes to like the narrative. I mean, there's smearing on all sides. If I give a story, there's a bias everywhere. So it's
and my favorite part of this whole story, moving from the lawsuit, Justin Baldoni is also demanding that Disney hold on to documents to support his claim that Ryan Reynolds used Nice Pool in the latest Deadpool movie to bully Justin, which I was like, what? But then when you start to look at like the similarities, so, Justin is seeking to gain compensation because he is saying that that Nice Pool was literally there to mock him, whether or not anyone knew that he was there to mock him, but that there was certain aspects there, like the Nice Pool saying that he was going to start up a podcast about women's rights. If you remember, Justin Baldoni has a podcast about women's rights, and that he was a feminist, and that he called Lady Pool, who was played by Lively, gorgeous, which is another part of it. And she had just had a baby too, and you couldn't tell. So like certain things in there that it could have been almost an inside joke between Blake and Ryan to make fun of Justin Baldoni. And so he's saying like, I need you guys to save any correspondence with Ryan about Nice Pool because I want to prove that Nice Pool was done just to mock me. But then again, it's satirical. So like, what is he going to have against Ryan Reynolds? I mean, look at Saturday Night Live. That's all they do is mock people and make satirical comedy out of people in real life. So do I think that's going to change anything? No.
That's some bold claims that Justin did. And I does this, I think the damage is all done, based on what's going on in the media. Like, how much more damage can there be? I don't think this goes to court. I think this gets some sort of settlement. There's just a lot of money going in all different ways. I don't think Blake gets the rights to the movie. I think Justin gets to keep it, but I do think there's just sort of, it's a money switcheroo at the end. But again, the ultimate damage is what we're seeing now regarding everyone. It's gonna
should he be happy that Nice Pool was about him? Like it's an honor. When Saturday Night Live spoofed me, I was like, fuck yes, that's awesome.
God, that SNL did that. They spoofed you.
Yeah. Well, they spoofed the whole TMZ cast, but like my name literally came up in their credits.
Oh, that's so great. That's awesome. That is. I mean, honestly, Dax, you should put that on your LinkedIn. That's the coolest thing. Like, hey, been satire by SNL.
I should put that. Been spoofed by SNL.
Oh, by the way, news hosting SNL this week is Dave Chappelle. So that should be kind of fun to see what Dave Chappelle has to say regarding the LA wildfires and stuff. So I'm excited to see what Dave Chappelle has to do. But I wonder if Dave Chappelle just did it because it was right after this, and like, who do we have? Like, it's hard to go right into comedy. Mm-hmm. So it's like you need someone to kind of go after a little bit and make fun. So that Dave Chappelle they reached out to him and said, hey, would you come do SNL right now? We could use you. But it's almost like you just want to see Dave for the monologue. You don't need to see him for the sketches. But also he brings in his own writers and he has his own take on the sketches when you have guys like him come in. So excited for this week's SNL. Even more excited for next week. You have Timothée Chalamet doing SNL. And he's also the musical guest. I think that's going to be really cool.
You love this, man. This Bob Dylan movie has like transformed you, Adam.
It transformed me into have a different respect for Bob Dylan, and obviously more of a different respect.
I think you've got a man crush on Timothée Chalamet right now.
Nah,
watch out, Kylie Jenner. Adam's on his heels.
Too young for me, Dax. I like my boys a little bit with a little more hair on their chest. No, I'm kidding. I am totally straight. No, I think I am. But no, I think I did like the Bob Dylan. I just thought the movie was really good and it was fun. Was it the best movie I've ever seen? No. I thought it was a fun movie. The best movie I've ever seen, obviously, the Robbie Williams movie, Better Man. You guys should see it. Pro Robbie Williams.
That's your other boyfriend.
Number 2.
Jessica Simpson and Eric Johnson have split up after 10 years of marriage. Not really a shocker here. I feel like this has been a story that people have been talking about for quite some time. Hey, they're not living together, not spending time together. There's a little post that she's putting up that's kind of seems to point the fact that they are not happy in this marriage. So it all finally came to fruition, and they have now announced that they have been living separately. They didn't really reveal any details on the timeline of the split, but she basically said that Eric and I have been living separately, navigating a painful situation in our marriage. And she gave that statement to People magazine. And she said, our children come first, and we are focusing on what is best for them. We are grateful for all the love and support that has been coming our way and appreciate the privacy right now as we work through this as a family. So, at the end of the day, it's still sad to see a relationship end. It was funny. I was really sad over the Nick and Jessica split. This one, I'm like, you didn't really, I don't feel like I knew Eric that well. They just weren't super public like Nick and Jessica were. So you felt like you were a part of that relationship. But yeah, they've got 3 kids together. And so that part, I think, is sad. And then she has now relisted her mansion up for sale. I'm going to put the photos in our private Facebook group. You've got to see the inside shots of this house. It is unreal. It is beautiful. They did a great job. It's also kind of funny to think, like, back then when Nick and Jessica got together, like, he was the big star. Remember? Like, he was the one making all of the money from the boy band, and how quickly that flip-flopped with the success of her fashion line. And now she's got her music going again. She's about to release a new album. And obviously a breakup does well for albums because people want to hear pissed off music. It's worked really well for numerous people over the years. So I think this could be a nice revival for her.
Where's the house tax? I'm sorry.
It's in Calabasas.
Calabasas. So Calabasas, what's it? It's like Hidden Hills, Calabasas, then Malibu.
Actually, it might be considered Hidden Hills. You might be right there. Hidden Hills is in Calabasas. I think Hidden Hills is technically a community in Calabasas. It's like where the Kardashians live. I mean, there's endless amounts of celebrities that live in that area. But it's this beautiful home. I gotta find the link for it because most people can't post the photos because it's like a Zillow link. But I'll put it in the private Facebook group and you guys can go and see it because they can't. Normally you get in trouble for posting house photos if you don't have the rights to them.
I never been to Calabasas. I gotta just is it worth taking out like
we
a
were
ride
in
to
Calabasas. We did it. We
McDonald?
Heather McDonald show
Is
in
that
Calabasas.
I thought that was somewhere
So
else.
so we've gone to the Target twice together in Calabasas.
Oh, that's right. We love that Target parking lot. We use the restroom there. Great restroom at that Target. Then you know what?
Her house, I was
Yeah.
looking at her houses. She listed it for $17.9 million. 7 bedrooms, 13 baths, 13,000 square feet mansion. Oh God, it's huge.
That's pretty big. I'm just always curious, like, what has Eric Johnson done the last 10 years? Like, what did he do for work? How was he able to, not like he really needed to provide or have an income, or is he just
he
a
was
husband?
former NFL player, so I bet he's got money saved up
He's got a
from that.
pension,
But
probably.
at the end of the day, she's also done well. And when you're in a marriage, it's community property. So,
And then I'm sure he gets probably paid, $1 million a year for the wedding, for being married to her. So I'm sure there was a prenup, and then he probably gets $1 million a year. That was like in the settlement.
So this was, if they've been married for 10 years, had her clothing line even hit by then?
And we don't even know what his direct involvement was with the clothing line. Did he actually work for the?
It doesn't matter. Like it goes into community property, especially in California. It's like anything you guys anything someone earns, you earn together.
Man, between the Cash Warren and the this guy now, I mean, it's interesting time for these guys. I don't think they'll ever become public. I wonder if it becomes public of the settlement of what they got, or it could just happen. But I'm sure they'll try to stay quiet. They're nice guys. Seem like nice guys. Dax, the number one story of the week.
Number one story of the week really comes down to Heidi and Spencer are the biggest celebrities on the planet right now, which 3 weeks ago you would have never thought was a thing, but her music has now gone to number 1 on the iTunes charts, and it's actually really helping them out. Spencer's transition on TikTok to this kind of he's always been self-deprecating, but the self-deprecating humor has really hit with a core audience on TikTok. Him talking about just kind of how crappy his life is and how it's not as exciting as everyone thinks, has somehow gathered a lot of love and attention, and he has gained 1 million followers on TikTok in the last couple of days. People are feeling bad for them, and we love Spencer here. We actually love Heidi and Spencer. We've tried to get Heidi on a couple times. Can't seem to get her on, but Spencer has been amazing to us over the years, and it's kind of fun to now see the world rally around them and turn her music, which is years old, into the number 1 song on iTunes. And I don't know how much that translates for them into money. Like, what do you think that they will get out of that, Adam?
I don't know. And I think that's a question for when eventually Spencer comes on the podcast to see, like, how much did they actually make from it. I wonder if he's very open.
Oh, he'll tell us, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but I have to assume, and I'm just guessing, that somehow Apple and Spotify will just fuck them over because it goes against everything they do. And I don't know. I just feel like somehow they're going to screw them over.
I hope they don't. I hope that, like, you got these people who have acknowledged, like, they were house poor is what Heidi described it, where she's like, we had a house, but it's paid for, but we don't have much beyond that. And so you're kind of trying to be scrappy and make money where you can, but at the end of the day, you're living, trying to figure it out. And so once the house is gone, what do you have left? Nothing. So I would hope that iTunes and Apple and no one screws them over and gives them the money that they have earned at this moment, because that's why people are listening. It's an easy way to support one. Oh, I can listen to your music and that supports you. Okay, that's an easy enough thing to do.
Yeah, I think it'll be insane. Imagine Super Bowl, Kendrick Lamar's performing, and then all of a sudden he brings up Heidi to perform. That's if Kendrick wants to become like the guy, especially to like a different audience, be like, no, I'm the one who gave I'm the one who gave Heidi a shot during the Super Bowl. I think that'd be
so funny.
That'd be so funny.
Had her come out, sing like 3 tracks, because whoever does Super Bowl, it's like their tracks instantly start trending. So if she came out and sang, oh my God, that'd be such a good PR move by Kendrick.
You know what? Hats off to Spencer. I think Spencer is so smart, and he's also ahead of his time when it came to PR and the show business. I mean, gotta remember, like we said, Kim Kardashian was almost Kris Jenner wanted Spencer to manage Kim Kardashian, and everything he did was sort of like before his time. And this thing, he made, lemonade out of lemons. What's the thing you made?
Yeah, lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, I mean, he turned something terrible and trying to, and I get it. He's got a kid, he's got to make money, and we tried to get him on the podcast, and he was open to us. He's like, guys, I got these. I'm getting paid to do other interviews right now. I got to chase the money. I'm like, I was like the first one to say, I appreciate you just being honest, and I appreciate just letting me know. Like, do that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
someone's gonna pay you. Take that money, and you got some bills to pay right now. It's a tough time. So good on him. I'm genuinely happy for them. And it's good to see like other people sort of give Spencer and Heidi the roses.
Going from being one of the biggest villains, most hated people on the planet, to people rallying around you. Never saw that coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our top 10 stories of the week, our Raw rundown. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Follow our private Facebook group called Off the Record. You have to apply to be in it, answer a few questions, and then we will allow you to be in. But it's a fun community. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax at Dax Holt. Follow us on TikTok. And we'll Instagram, all that stuff. We're cool, kids. Come on now. Bye. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
What's up, guys? If you liked that video, there's plenty more that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.